the shadow side of the Virgo male. So some, but not all. I feel like I have to add this disclaimer because a lot of people kept on saying, oh, not all this and not all that. I'm not speaking about all Virgos. These are shadow-sided traits. Do you know what I mean? People who are not fully developed in their zodiac sign. So first and foremost, Virgo's opposite sign is Pisces. So they're very sneaky. They pull from that Pisces. They're the type to check your stuff. If you leave them in your house too long, they're those type of people. Like try to go through your phone, little things like that. They're also not upfront about what they're feeling. So they're the types to, if they feel slighted, they'll talk about what you did to everybody else except you. So they're not the confrontational type. So they act kind of, it's a feminine energy. Do you know what I mean? Another shadow side trait that you find in Virgo people, Virgo men especially, is self-medicating through drugs and alcohol. Both, actually. I was gonna say mostly alcohol, but honestly, it could be anything. They have the desire to make the pain go away because they suffer from a lot of anxiety. So even if they're not the types to be involved in, they're just obsessive in nature when they're on the shadow side. So they could overly work out for hours at a time. Like when you see a shadow-sided Virgo, you know, because first of all, their energy is not even, they're an earth sign, so they're supposed to be quite stable, I guess. But if they're super fidgety, it's unlike Virgos to be that way, especially higher vibrating ones. So you might see they might have this something that they do compulsively, like, you know, pen on the table, like fidgeting. It could be anything, but something that they're constantly doing. They can't sit down. That restless energy. All of those are signs of a shadow-sided Virgo. They're also the types to not take responsibility for where they are in life. So they'll blame everybody else. They'll blame God. They'll blame their parents not sending them to a better university. They'll blame everybody else but themselves. They will never take accountability for where they are in life. If they're unemployed, you know, stuff like that. It's everybody else's fault. That's definitely a Virgo trait. It's because the world is like this. It's because the government is like this. They're constantly complaining and people get sick of it. But that's just how they are. If you're ever in any drama, they'll be the types to 6ix9ine you. LOL. They'll definitely snitch to get themselves out of trouble. They have this save myself mentality. They can't stand 10 toes on something. You know what I mean? Yeah, I did it. You find that in the mutable signs. Sagittarius, Pisces, what else? Virgo, and Gemini. These signs, they have this fluidity. They don't stand on one thing. Like they understand but they're just fluid in nature. I'll do a video explaining that in depth. But yeah, they'll definitely save themselves if they're ever in trouble. They're never that loyal to any cause, trust me. Along with that goes with their hypocrisy. Because they have that nature, it makes them hypocrites in the sense that they might be selling drugs, but they'll like hate on other people and be like, oh, I don't use drugs, and still try to act high and mighty. It's like, how can you act high and mighty when you do this just because you sin in another way? So they have that tendency to do that. They can be hypocrites. They might be against prostitution but support them the most, that sort of thing. They can never be like somebody that stands on their 10 toes. That's the best way I can say it. Virgo signs on the shadow side are also obsessive compulsive. Everybody knows this about Virgos, but they're even worse when they're on the shadow side. They have this restless energy. They're constantly cleaning something. They could be doing corrupt things in their career, but they vow to have a clean surrounding because they feel like, oh, their life is in order. Like it's a weird kind of dynamic that they have going on. They have the desire to control everything. It's a lot of people think that it's a good thing because it helps them be organized, but at the cost of your peace of mind, is it really worth it? So a lot of times I feel like they have to pull from that Pisces energy and like chill out. You know what I mean? So going along with them being like pretty pretentious in a way, like they're worried about their image, but they'll look for like cruel ways, because they can be sadistic too. They look for cruel ways to get their laughs. Like they might be a pastor or something, but spend their days trolling other people on the internet. You know, that kind of thing, where you'll see someone who has this picture perfect image, but behind closed doors they do something that's against it. That goes back along to like their hypocrisy. They can be very, very pretentious people. They're also the type to throw rocks and hide their hands. They might gossip about other people, but they don't like confrontation. So they're obviously not backing it up. Virgos do not, they're not about confronting others or fighting and all that stuff. No, they're a rather calm energy. So the things that they do are quite passive. So when you think about how they get back at someone, it'll be through a passive method. You know what I mean? Think bad mouthing you to the boss or hiding your lunch. I don't know, just something really petty that you're just like, really? They can also worry themselves into a sickness. Like they'll think about something, and next thing you know, they're actually dealing with it. Now, some of it is in their imagination, but some of it gets manifested into like real physical illnesses. But they also like the attention that comes from being the sick person. They get to play victim. They get to take all this medication. Let's not forget, Virgo rules medication. So all of that is typical Virgo. On the shadow side as well, Virgos can be very sloppy, very lazy, because when their mind is all messed up, as they would say, they can't get anything done. So it's not surprising if you see a shadow-sided Virgo, and their house has like clothes all over the place. And it's because indeed their mind is disheveled. You know what I mean? So yeah, that goes against what their sign is about. So that tells you that they're they're not living to the highest potential of their sign. So yeah, if there's anything else you guys want to add, please add that in the comment section. Like I said, this is not all Virgos. This is just shadow-sided traits. All right.